Welcome back. So, Jeng, anecdotal evidence.
Well, this is something that is still a proposal that the board will need to consider. But just looking at the very recent event, the Taal volcano eruption,
yes.
it caused a lot of damage in the surrounding areas, affected the livelihoods of people around. So we did our part in terms of reaching out and participating in the relief effort. We actually canceled one of our general monthly meetings and used our induction as officers and donated the proceeds to
the
help
victims,
for the relief of the victims.
That's nice.
So that's only the relief bit. But then our financial inclusion committee was thinking about, okay, what next? How do we ensure that the people who can no longer go back to their places of residence because they've been locked down.
Devastated, yeah.
How do we then get them to either relearn new livelihood ways to earn money?
Right. So how did that happen? What's the answer to your how?
Well, that is what we are currently looking at because the proposal is to do a pilot first in one of the towns, do some data gathering on the people who were affected, what were they doing before the eruption, what kind of skills.
So would you be giving training? Would you be like?
Well, not necessarily us, but we will be engaging
others, yes.
others to participate with us.
Yeah.
Like including also banks to extend certain, support on the financing side to make sure that they're able to reach that next.
So this has happened or will happen?
It's being discussed because
yes.
Taal just happened a couple of
know,
months ago. So
I know.
But our financial inclusion committee was already thinking, looking forward.
That is so key, no, Jeng and Abbott. Really, the knowing how to actually manage your finances for a business, even your household, is so important. And that's one of the advocacies that you have to actually teach people.
Yes,
what's cash flow? Cash flow 101.
2 points. With respect to that question about the academy, it's, as Jeng said, it's a new baby, but certainly this COVID-19 experience has such a huge impact on us, and certainly I think in developing our syllabus, we should put in risk mitigation subjects there. That's number one. Number two, as I mentioned earlier, in particular with respect to the foundation, we have like CSR programs which include financial literacy, social entrepreneurship, which we offer to the underprivileged and depressed areas. And it's ongoing now. In fact, we've done some of these programs in Payatas, Quezon City.
Excellent.
Yes, and so we train these mothers to how to bookkeep and other things, and then eventually when they graduate, we try to put them in internships or obtain employment.
That's great.
We're now, I just attended a committee meeting where we're trying to expand this, so we're in conjunction with the Chito Madrigal Foundation, who has facilities in Bohol and Bicol areas. Our foundation will tie up with them to expand it over there as well. No?
So who are the teachers or who are the trainers?
We get volunteers from our members.
From FINEX members.
Yes, to contribute their time and effort to teach for free. No? So that's one of the advocacies of the foundation.
Wow, they're inspired, no?
Yes, we have a lot of very inspired people among our members. In fact, with respect, with respect to the Taal volcano eruption, some of our members insisted that they wanted to go and actually hand over the donation. No? So it wasn't just giving it. No? They wanted to be there and really hand it over.
That's the essence of Filipino, bayanihan. No?
Bayanihan.
That's really the very essence of the Filipino culture. Yeah, that's wonderful. So this foundation, you're actually having this all the more now. I think it's going to be significant, the impact of the foundation, when you're saying, Jeng, that you're going to be working or collaborating together with some of the banks in terms of loans, financial literacy, those kind of things. So are you going around like communities? Do you have communities slated already?
Well, right now, I said we've already done something in Payatas, and we're looking at Bohol and Bicol. Eventually, we'll be trying
Can
to
a
see
community ask you and say,
yeah, sure, why
Attorney
not?
Tan, pwede ba
Why
dito
not?
sa amin?
We
Pwede
see
ba
how we
yun?
can fix something, arrange something.
Kung gusto nyo, ha? Bakit?
No, I think it's a good project, no? And you can see tangible results, no? Because we have, let's say, a number of graduates. In fact, the ones this year will be graduating sometime in December, and we're trying to put them already with some of our members, internships, and hopefully even regular employment. No? So
yeah, that's excellent. And if you put in also the digital transformation using all these apps, and when you're saying doing more with less, it's gonna accelerate actually their learning. So that's kind of like the impact that you want to make with FINEX. Now, I can't help but ask this about CITIRA, the corporate income tax. And well, right now, companies are having a hard time. I think the corporate income tax from 30 down to 20 would be very helpful. But that's just one part of the CITIRA. The other side is actually for the incentives rationalization. Is that something that might, prove an opportune time to sort of like delay that for companies, given what's going on now, so we can have employment and continue business?
Well, part of the issue is the uncertainty and the fact that the CITIRA law hasn't been passed. In fact, last week, we co-signed together with other organizations a statement pushing for the passage of the CITIRA law, just to remove the uncertainty, and then any question on the specific incentives that you got or will not get.
Yes.
Those will need to be discussed with appropriate agencies under the remit of the CITIRA.
Yeah, because that's one thing that businesses do not like is uncertainty. Yeah. So what are some of the things that you would like to actually share with those who are the industries that are most affected now? As a CFO, since you look at being a steward of financial resources, integrity, those are the basic principles. How are those even more significant now?
Well, if you talk about integrity, I mean, as a CFO, you're the person everyone looks at to be the conscience of the organization. You need to be the one to practice what you preach. You do things right. And the way I defined integrity is your conscience taking action. I mean, everyone knows what is wrong or right. It's whether it translates into something that delivers good. That's when it becomes a success in terms of being a person of with integrity.
But that's very ideal.
Yeah.
But the reality sometimes isn't really, does not follow the ideal, especially when companies have to have, let's say, their profitability, their markers for their profitability, dividends, etc. So how do you create that balance now? How do you?
Can I say something? The biggest award FINEX gives every year is the CFO of the Year award.
Yes.
FINEX in conjunction with ING, and this has been going on for like 13 years. Yes. And I'm proud to say that Jeng here was one of our awardees. In what year was this, Jeng?
Right.
2014.
2014. So you're right, asking the right
Yeah.
person.
That's why I'm asking him, because it has to be a benchmark, right?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but in determining who gets the award, we have this criteria, no?
Yeah.
Which the foundation, working with the Ateneo
Graduate
Business School, came up with, no? And I think that's how you should.
That's what I mentioned earlier. The criteria for CFO of the Year is to be a strategist, and by strategist it means that you need to partner with the CEO to look at the long-term sustainable performance of the company, of the organization, looking at what potential barriers can come in the future, what are the scenarios or what ifs. Next is to be a catalyst. Catalyst is all about flawless execution, which means that you need to focus your attention on doing things that will deliver the most value for the company, because sometimes we tend to oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but does it really create value for the organization? So that's when that's a benefit of also doing benchmarking externally. What are the best doing,
best practices,
and how can I copy or do the same things? So that's being the catalyst. The third is being the steward, exactly what you're talking about. We are here to protect the assets of the organization, the resources of the corporation, but we know that in order to be world-class, we have to be able to do it with less resources, less people, and that's a whole change that's happening globally that will affect our ability to compete. And with things like COVID and the Taal eruption, it adds a degree of difficulty. The last is being an operator. Our bread and butter. Are we able to do it flawlessly? Are we able to do it with cutthroat efficiency using digitalization and automation? So, catalyst, steward, strategist, operator, doing more with less, better, and faster.
In short, I think the CFO is a very important officer of every company. And he has to work closely with top management to see how they can address this problem.
Right. Now, how about sustainability? Because right now, a lot of these things that's happening globally has something to do with climate change, and climate change mitigation actually is key. We can't hardly breathe, even here in our own country, and the Philippines actually is very susceptible to climate change. So is sustainability, right now that's sort of like trending, but it's actually not a trend. It's a need. So for our generation and the generations to come, sustainability has to be adopted by large companies across all industries. The oil and gas is one, airline, it doesn't matter, transport industry. How is sustainability being looked at specifically by CFOs? Because CFOs are really tough guys. When you're going to be talking about sustainability, because you're going to take a look at profitability, etc., and that's kind of like, nice to have, but not really a need. But some companies in the oil and gas industry actually have taken the lead to do sustainability, and transport industry as well. How do you now balance, or how do you put sustainability as part of your plate of things that you're going to have to do some expenses for? How do you justify and how do you balance profitability, maybe short-term, not profitability, but long-term we'll see. So how do you balance that? But before you answer that, we're going to cut to a short break. You're watching BizNews. We'll be right back.